What's going on, guys? This is Tower number 9, and I'm coming to you with two preview cards to spoil from Fantasy Flight Games. So big shout out to Fantasy Flight Games and to Xander for providing me with these spoiler cards. Also, my apologies for my disheveled appearance in my video. I am coming off of about a week of isolation thanks to COVID here, but I am getting better. I was able to actually taste a delicious sourdough baguette this morning from Arctic Bakehouse. Shout out to Arctic Bakehouse. If you're ever in Prague, feel free to check them out. They got some very good bread. But yeah, let's move on to what you guys are here for, the spoilers. Okay, so first up, we have the Wilderness Fighter. And this is a Trooper unit, 3 cost 2/4, vigilance only, no other aspect, and it has shielded. So when you play it, you will get a shield token. So looking at this, the first thing that I think with this unit is that this is going to be, it's probably going to see more play in limited relative to constructed. So the 3 cost 2/4 stat line is a little below curve for constructed play. You know, when we have cards like Ezra Bridger, Fighters for Freedom, that are 3 cost 3/4 with relevant abilities, 3 cost 2/4 and 3 cost 3/3 are generally not, in my opinion, up to par unless they have very strong abilities. So we do see some cards like that. You know, we see people playing the Fleet Lieutenant, for instance, 3 cost 3/3, but has a great ability. Um, but three it's shielded to me is not like so splashy and impactful in ability that it makes a 3 cost 2/4 necessarily worth it. However, there's one big caveat that's going to be Chewbacca. So if you're using Chewbacca, the leader, you can deploy a unit that costs 3 or less and it gains Sentinel for a turn. This is actually so annoying with that for your opponent, in my opinion. The ability to deploy a 3 cost unit with shielded and have it be a Sentinel for a turn is going to be quite an obstacle for the opponent to deal with. uh, for life and shielded. Often, I think the opponent will just not actually be able to kill that, especially if they have like one big unit, like maybe they have an ATST or something. It's going to struggle to get through the Wilderness Fighter unless they have some other stuff to help. Additionally, like if you play this unit as a Sentinel and the opponent would be able to defeat most units, like let's say they have an open fire or a forced choke, one of these removal cards that can clear out most units at this cost, they'll need to have something else to go along with it in order to get through that shield. So for Chewie, at least, I think the Wilderness Fighter is very strong. I also think that if we see, maybe some strong aggressive attachments to go with it, that could be a pretty good combination. Put a strongly aggressive attachment on a unit that has a good amount of health and shielded to give it some extra resilience. Um, Also could work well with go wide type stuff. I know there's been some discussion of this as a theme for Command Heroic in particular. If we do see some more things that reward just having more units on the board, maybe having units like this that are going to be quite resilient and annoying for the opponent to deal with is a good way to up your unit count and get those effects going. One note is that it only has the Trooper trait. It does not have Rebel, does not have Imperial, does not even have Fringe. So it is just a trooper. That does mean it will work with trooper synergy. Right now, I think the only trooper synergy we've seen is General Tag or Taggy or however you pronounce that, which I don't think is a super good card at present, but we could see if we see a future deck where that works very well, then maybe this guy will be a good companion for that. So yeah, overall, I think it's probably a card that's going to be more seen in limited play, but will maybe have some constructed use with Chewbacca in particular, and perhaps with other stuff that we haven't seen yet. So overall, that's what I think of the Wilderness Fighter. Please do feel free to comment below and let me know if you disagree and think there are some other uses or combinations that I haven't realized. But let's move to our other spoiler card. That's going to be the Partisan Insurgent. So this one is a 2 cost 1/4. While you control another aggression unit. This unit gains Rage 2. It gets +2/+0 while attacking, and this is a Rebel Trooper. The biggest thing that jumps out to me about this card is that this confirms that we're going to have some Rebel units that aren't heroic. So this unit is from Saw's Partisans. They're kind of this faction of the Rebels that became sort of separate from the main Rebel Alliance, and their methods grew very extreme. If you guys have seen Rogue One, this is Saw's Partisans are the faction that this guy is from, and I won't spoil exactly what happens, but they end up, even though they're fighting the Empire too, they end up actually taking more of an antagonistic role in that film. So that's the Partisan Insurgent. Interesting unit here. And one other thing that jumps out to me about this unit is that this seems like something that could be actually really strong in a double red deck in particular, because that will maximize the odds of getting that, at least in theory, if all or almost all your units are red, that's going to increase your odds of getting this Rage 2 enabled. So 2 cost 1/4 as a stat line is on curve for the ground arena. And we've seen units such as Admiral Piet, C3PO, the regional governor. Those are all 2 cost 1/4s, and they do see play. So that is a reasonable stat line that you can use in the ground arena. And if you can get that stat line, if you can get that stat line bumped up to 3/4 with this raid 2 for the offense, this is going to be a very efficient card. The question is just how reliably are you going to be able to get other aggression units out and keep them on the board. So I think that for some decks this is going to be very relevant. So Sabine and IG88, for instance, who are both pretty pretty aggro red leaders, I think are both going to potentially find use for this guy even in constructed play. In limited, I think similarly, if you have a red heavy deck, this guy can be very strong. So overall, I would say I would probably rate the Partisan Insurgent a bit above the the earlier preview there, the Wilderness Fighter. But, let me know in the comments below if you disagree. It's certainly very possible that that I am missing something that makes this guy stronger than this guy. But for now, I would say the Partisan Insurgent is my favorite of these two cards. But we'll have to see. I know that Chewy players might be a lot more excited about this Wilderness Fighter than they are about the Insurgent. Both of these also like relatively nice, cheap kind of early game core units. These are the types of cards that I actually really like seeing. I hope to see more of them soon, especially for the Command Heroic, I think, is missing a bunch of early drops that should be quite relevant for Leia in particular. And these sorts of things are kind of, they're not like the flashy combo pieces. These are both common cards, but I like these sort of bread and butter, like basic unit conflict type guys. Especially this Partisan Insurgent, I'm going to be seriously looking at putting this into my Sabine decks, both double red, but also cunning Sabine, stuff like that. I think this guy's a great fit. So even just with the cards that we've previewed now, if you are making decks with the previewed cards, I think this guy's a solid contender, and I think this guy could be quite reasonable with Chewy. So yeah, that's the Partisan Insurgent and the Wilderness Fighter. Thanks to you guys for watching. Don't have too much else to say about it. I will read the comments if people have if people have thoughts, comments, snide remarks, suggestions for how to use these guys. I'll happily check that out. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Nice short video. Just figured I would show you guys the cards, and yeah. Thanks again to Fantasy Flight Games and Xander over there for sending me these cards. Very happy to have them. And shout out also again to the Arctic Bakehouse in Prague. They have a few locations, but if you want to get some tight sourdough bread, that's a good place to go to. And this is not sponsored also by either Fantasy Flight Games or Arctic Bakehouse. This is just it's unofficial fan content. But yeah, thanks to you guys for watching, and we'll be back later with some more Star Wars Unlimited content. I will catch you guys later.